7th grade family living test. Please pause the video if you need more time to complete an answer. Please type your first and last name. Family. What is the definition of a family? In Mrs. Stutz's class, we discussed a specific word that should be included in your definition. This section you will answer questions on the basic needs of all children must have met by their parents or guardians. Please be sure to read the question carefully. List the 3 basic needs. Please pause the video if you need more time to complete. Basic needs. What are 2 examples of a physical need? What are 2 examples of an emotional need? What are 2 examples of an educational need? We discussed in class that every family looks different. Listed below are the main family types. Match them to the family being described. Choose the best answer. Barbara lives with her father, mother, her grandmother, and her aunt. This is an example of what type of family? Matt and his mother are alone since his parents divorced. This is an example of what type of family? Rebecca's mother had to move in with her and her family. This is an example of what type of family? When Mike's wife passed away in a car accident, he found himself in charge of their 2 children. This is an example of what type of family? Chelsea's parents can no longer take care of her. She is temporarily living with the Walker family. This is an example of what type of family? Gina, Teresa, Mary, and Alicia are 4 friends who have all decided to rent a house together. They will each put their money towards the rent and utility bills. This is an example of what type of family? Family types examples. Identify the types of families represented in these television shows or movies we discussed in class. The TV show The Brady Bunch is an example of what type of family? The movie The Incredibles is an example of what type of family? The TV show Friends is an example of what type of family? The TV show The Simpsons is an example of what type of family? The TV show Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is an example of which type of family? The movie Annie is an example of which type of family? The movie The Lion King is an example of which type of family? Family life cycle. A typical family goes through several stages as it grows. Listed below are the different stages of the family life cycle. Read each situation below and choose the best answer. It is so busy at the Joneses trying to take care of a 4-year-old and a 10-year-old. This is an example of which stage of the family life cycle. At the Smiths' house, it has become so quiet since Annie went to college. Ed got married, and Sarah moved into an apartment with friends. The Smiths are in which stage of the family life cycle? Anna is 3 years old and her parents have started taking her to swimming class. This situation is an example of which stage of the family life cycle? 13-year-old Hannah is in middle school, a middle school play, and her parents came to see her in her first performance. What stage of the family life cycle is Hannah in? Brooke and Dave spent a week at the beach on their honeymoon. This is a situation. This situation is an example of which stage of the family life cycle? Steve has reached the age of 65 and has stopped working. He is now a volunteer for the library down the street. What stage of the family life cycle is Steve in? Megan and Greg have given birth to their first child. This situation is an example of which stage in the family life cycle? Martha and Bill enjoy having their grandchildren come for overnight visits, now that neither of them are working. This situation is an example of which stage of the family life cycle? Kathy and Bob are finding it challenging to raise their 13-year-old daughter. This would be an example of which stage in the family life cycle? Chris and Jamie are planning a trip to Hawaii. They planned well for years and when they are no longer working. This would be an example of which stage of the family life cycle? Steve and Claire sometimes find it difficult to adjust to their new married life together. This would be an example of which stage in the family life cycle? 7 C's of family life. In order for all families to function smoothly and continue to grow, it is necessary to remember the 7 C's of family life. Choose the best answer for the following questions. Being able to talk to each other to solve problems is an example of working together to do daily chores and solve problems is an example of caring about the members of your family while they might be having a difficult time is an example of spending time together enjoying your family's company is an example of knowing that your family will be responsible for you through good times and in bad is an example of to solve a problem, families will give and take. They will agree to a solution to a problem that everyone can work with. This is an example of when you think about how other family members will feel if you do something to hurt their feelings. This is an example of showing now think about your family. What are examples of the 7 C's that your family does well? Check all that apply. You have now finished your test. You may find something quiet to do.